In his dream, he was a beautiful bird. Puccini flew high above the ancient Italian city of Lucca in the light of the full moon. He spread his wings and swooped across the sleeping town. A gust of wind swept him up and carried him to the church of San Michele. Its marble glowed radiantly in the moonlight, and Puccini hovered in front of the building, admiring the animals carved into its facade. He rose higher and higher up to the statue of San Michele perched on the rooftop. Puccini reached out to touch one of his bronze wings, and the figure came to life. The composer suffered a terrible fright, but San Michele just smiled and waved. Puccini laughed and flew off. He floated above the wall that encircled the city and guarded the sleeping families of Lucca. Giacomo Puccini whirled above the Piazza dell'Anfiteatro like a planet in orbit. When he tired of this game, he flew to the Torre Guinigi, a tall tower with a mysterious garden of trees on its rooftop. This was his favorite building in Lucca. Puccini flapped his wings and landed on top of the tower. He looked over the railing and longed to be a child again, running and playing on the cobblestones below. When he opened his eyes, his dream floated on a sliver of sunlight. I don't know what is more splendid, driving a motor car or flying, Puccini mused as he stumbled out of bed and snatched his cane. A car accident had injured his leg, but not his passion for automobiles. The composer flung open the shutters and breathed in the cool morning air. He got dressed and strolled through the streets of Lucca, the city of his birth. The aroma of coffee filled the air, and pastries lay like gardens of sugary flowers behind the cafe windows. He entered a coffee shop, sat down at a scratched old table, and ordered an espresso. Dazzling images from his new opera Turandot roared into his mind, and before he knew it, he was in ancient China. A long, long time ago, there lived a princess named Turandot. She was as magnificent as a butterfly and as cunning as a tiger. Her beauty was unsurpassed, and many men wished to marry her. But Princess Turandot never wanted to marry. One day, her father, Emperor Altum, approached her and said, "Turandot, it is time for you to find a husband." The shrewd girl smiled at her father and replied, "I cannot simply give my love away. My suitor must earn it with his cleverness." The emperor sighed. "How shall he do this, Turandot?" "Any man who wishes to marry me must strike the gong and then answer 3 riddles. If he answers correctly, I shall be his bride. But if he fails, he shall lose his head to the axe." Emperor Altum considered his daughter's suggestion. "If this is what you must do to find a husband, then you have my permission to proceed." Turandot's plan was announced, and when word of her proclamation reached the Prince of Persia, he hurried to the royal palace. He had always been enchanted by Turandot's beauty and was not afraid of her questions. "What could she possibly ask that I cannot answer?" he pondered as he climbed the steps of the palace. The prince raised the mallet and struck the gong. The low and foreboding sound summoned the princess. Turandot appeared on the veranda wrapped in a majestic red silk gown. Her glossy black hair poured down her back, and a golden crown dripping with pearls adorned her head. Turandot radiated danger, but the Prince of Persia heart.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?